Hello, everybody. It's Megan. I am looking forward to chatting with you today. So as a quick reminder, last week we launched a brand new website. We launched a group coaching program. We've got a whole bunch of new freebies and tons of cool stuff. So make sure that you head over to check out the new website. It's harmony-restored.com. Lots and lots of fun goodies over there for you. It's been really fun doing these lives because I'm getting a lot of really good feedback from you all, a lot of really good questions. And one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about today is what it means to live a good, honest life. I think a lot of us get so caught up in being kind of like what we talked about last week. We get so caught up in being perfect or doing the right thing or doing what everybody else is doing. And what ends up happening is we really lose sight of what we value as a person, as someone in a relationship, as someone part of a family, a community. And I think as a society, we have been fed this lie that of what a good life means, right? Of what it means to be successful, of what it means to be happy. And I'm so curious what you all think. And I would love to hear from you directly. Like, what do you think it means to live a good and honest life? And by honest, I don't necessarily mean honesty in the way that you're probably automatically thinking. I'm talking about honesty in the sense that you are able to be true to who you really are, and you are able to show up authentically in every moment of your life, in every wave that it brings you, good or bad, happy or sad, scary or not. And so we actually had, this past weekend, we had all the kids over, and so my husband and I, we have 6 kids between the two of us. So we are the Brady Bunch. And so we have this dining room table full of a million children, and we're eating dinner and we're talking about what it means to live a good life. And so everybody had very different opinions on what that meant. But most everybody, despite like maybe some small differences, most everybody said like to be kind and to be a good person. And I had to take a moment to point out to everyone that nobody here is talking about how much money they made or what kind of car they're driving or what school you went to or, even what your health status is. Nobody really mentioned that. Everybody mentioned being kind and basically being around kind people, doing something that you love. They talked about a lot about that, about just kind of following their passions. And so I think this happens to all of us, and it happened before social media, before all of that. But we are raised, if you're raised in a religion, you're indoctrinated with a certain set of values. If you're not raised in a religion, but you're just living out in society, you're also indoctrinated with a different set of values. And then every time you get on your phone, every time you scroll social media, you are being indoctrinated with another person's set of values. So, we have this idea of what we're supposed to be doing and what everything is supposed to look like. But I want you to just take a moment and ask yourself, is this what I really want? Do I actually value this? And maybe you do value, a fancy car or a huge house or this certain kind of job or whatever, insert whatever. Maybe you really don't though. And maybe you're just doing it because that's kind of what you've been told. And it kind of, again, it circles. This is where we have such a huge epidemic of anxiety. We have a huge epidemic of depression. Our children have a massive epidemic of mental and emotional, disease and illness. And why? Why is everybody so unhappy despite us being this, really progressive, affluent country that we live in? Why is everyone here so unhappy? And I I'm curious what your opinion is on that. I have a few opinions, but basically I just want to say, don't do things just because someone on social media is telling you to. Don't do things just because that's the way you were raised. Don't do things just because that's what you read in a book. Do things because that's what is right for you. So just because, you were raised in this religion and your parents were like this and your friends were like this and you grew up in this area and, this is what social media algorithm has pumped out to you today, like it doesn't necessarily mean that's true for you. And so I always tell my kids, I actually told one of my kids this morning, when our body is dysregulated, when we're having anxiety, when we're feeling depressed, when we're feeling stuck, when we're feeling overwhelmed, that is a message from our body telling us that something that we are believing or telling ourselves or thinking or doing is not lined up with our authentic self. It's not lined up with what we really value. So if you are dealing with chronic overwhelm, chronic stress, chronic anxiety, I want you to take a moment and I want you to really evaluate your values. Evaluate where your time is going. Is your time and life dedicated to things that you truly value? Or is your life full of a bunch of bullshit that you don't care about and you're only doing because somebody on social media told you to, your religion told you to, your friend told you to, this book told you to? And this is where we're going to start empowering ourselves. This is where we're going to start teaching our kids better. Our kids need to know what it means to live a good and honest life. And to me personally, what that means is being who I really am, being authentic to who I really am. And that can mean on a really big scale, that can mean, my career and my marriage and all of these things, where I live, all these really big things. It can also mean on a very acute, small scale, the day-to-day where I can own, like, today I'm feeling this way. And today I know that I need to take care of myself. And so I'm going to do this. And it's being honest with myself about what I need, so that I can show up and be the best version of myself for the other people in my life that I care about. So it's about that authenticity and being honest with ourselves about who we really are, what we really value, and what we really need, and then living accordingly. In addition to that to me, living a good and honest life means being, basically, I think relationships are the bread and butter of our lives. It's not supplements and diets and stressing about food and stressing about this and that and the other. It is our relationships. And if we have good relationships, if we are connected to the people that we love, then in my opinion, life is going to be good. It won't matter how much money you're making. It won't matter what job you have. It won't matter what car you have, what clothes you're wearing. None of that stuff is going to matter as long as your relationships are good and happy and you are living your life in that way. Then I feel like everything else is going to work out. And what is the basis of a good relationship? It's communication, it's kindness, and all of that comes back to having to do our work. We have to do our work and we have to take care of ourselves. We have to know who we are. We have to learn to process our emotions so that we can show up in our relationships as our most authentic and honest self. And I think that is what the definition of a good life is. So I'd love to hear from you. What is your definition of a good and honest life?